Veronica Lake was the epitome of 1940s Hollywood glamour, famous for her sultry looks and iconic peekaboo hairstyle. She starred in classics like This Gun for Hire and Sullivan's Travels, becoming one of the era's most recognizable faces. However, behind the glitz and glamour, Lake's life was a downward spiral of personal and financial turmoil. Struggling with alcoholism and a series of failed marriages, she fell out of favor with Hollywood by the 1950s. Her fortune evaporated, and she was reduced to working as a bartender in a rundown New York tavern, a far cry from her days as a silver screen siren. Lake's later years were marked by obscurity and poverty. When she died in 1973, her ashes went unclaimed for years, a haunting symbol of the emptiness that often lies behind fame. Her story is a tragic reminder of how quickly the spotlight can fade, leaving behind a legacy of broken dreams and unfulfilled potential. Bela Lugosi's name is forever synonymous with his iconic portrayal of Count Dracula in the 1931 classic. His chilling performance made him a horror legend, but it also typecast him, limiting his career to low-budget monster movies. Off-screen, Lugosi battled addiction to morphine and methadone, which drained his finances and left him in dire straits. By the 1950s, he was bankrupt and performing in cheap B-movies to make ends meet. Lugosi's final years were a grim reflection of his struggles. He died in 1956 and was buried in his Dracula cape, a fitting yet tragic tribute to the role that defined and ultimately imprisoned him. His story is a haunting tale of how fame can become a curse, leaving even the most iconic stars forgotten and destitute. Dorothy Dandridge was a trailblazer, breaking barriers as the first African-American actress to earn an Oscar nomination for her role in Carmen Jones, 1954. Her beauty, talent, and charisma made her a star, but Hollywood's systemic racism limited her opportunities. Despite her success, Dandridge faced financial mismanagement and mounting debts, which left her nearly bankrupt by the early 1960s. Her personal life was equally tumultuous, marked by failed relationships and mental health struggles. In 1965, Dandridge was found dead in her modest apartment with only $2.14 to her name. Her tragic end highlights the immense challenges faced by black actors in an industry that often exploited and discarded them. Dandridge's legacy is one of resilience and unfulfilled promise, a heartbreaking reminder of the cost of breaking barriers. Mickey Rooney was Hollywood's original child star, captivating audiences in the Andy Hardy series and becoming one of the highest-paid actors of the 1930s and 1940s. However, his life off-screen was a roller coaster of financial mismanagement, gambling addiction, and 8 failed marriages. Rooney earned and lost multiple fortunes, leaving him perpetually broke. In his later years, he suffered elder abuse at the hands of his stepson, adding to his hardships. When he died in 2014, his estate was valued at just $18,000, a stark contrast to his former glory. Rooney's story is a cautionary tale of how fame and fortune can slip away without careful planning, leaving even the most beloved stars in poverty. Hedy Lamarr was more than just a Hollywood beauty. She was a brilliant inventor whose work laid the foundation for modern Wi-Fi. Known as the most beautiful woman in the world, Lamarr starred in classics like Algiers and Samson and Delilah. However, Hollywood undervalued her intellect, focusing solely on her looks. Her personal life was equally turbulent, with 6 failed marriages and costly legal battles draining her finances. By the 1990s, Lamarr was living in obscurity and poverty, her groundbreaking contributions to science largely unrecognized. She died in 2000, leaving behind a legacy of beauty, brains, and unfulfilled potential. Lamarr's story is a powerful reminder of how society often overlooks the depth behind a glamorous exterior. Judy Garland was the golden girl of Hollywood, immortalized as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Her voice and talent made her a star, but her life was a harrowing tale of exploitation, addiction, and financial ruin. Studio executives controlled every aspect of her life, feeding her pills to keep her working long hours. By the 1950s, Garland was bankrupt, owing hundreds of thousands in unpaid debts. Her struggles with substance abuse and mental health continued until her death in 1969, when she was found with almost no money to her name. Garland's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the dark side of fame, where even the brightest stars can burn out too soon. Errol Flynn was the swashbuckling hero of Hollywood's golden age, starring in classics like The Adventures of Robin Hood. His dashing looks and adventurous persona made him a star, but his off-screen life was equally wild. Flynn's lavish spending, womanizing, and legal troubles drained his wealth, leaving him bankrupt by the time of his death in 1959. His final years were marked by poor health and financial ruin, a stark contrast to his glamorous image. Flynn's story is a cautionary tale of how a life of excess can lead to a tragic downfall, even for the most beloved stars. Frances Farmer was a talented actress whose career was derailed by mental illness and Hollywood's cruelty. After being declared mentally ill, she was institutionalized and subjected to horrific abuse, which stripped her of her career and dignity. By the 1950s, Farmer was bankrupt and working menial jobs to survive. She died in 1970, forgotten and broken, a chilling reminder of how the industry can destroy even the most promising talents. Farmer's story is a tragic testament to the cost of fame and the lack of compassion in Hollywood. Gloria Dixon was a rising star in Hollywood during the late 1930s and early 1940s, known for her radiant beauty and promising talent. She gained recognition for her role in They Won't Forget, 1937, and seemed destined for a bright future in the industry. However, Dixon's career began to decline as she struggled to secure significant roles in the competitive world of Hollywood. By the mid-1940s, her film opportunities had dwindled, and she found herself facing financial difficulties. Dixon's life took a tragic turn in 1945 when she died in a devastating house fire at the age of 28. The fire not only claimed her life, but also destroyed much of her personal belongings, leaving behind little more than unanswered questions and a legacy of lost potential. Her untimely death shocked Hollywood and served as a grim reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the entertainment industry. Dixon's story is one of unfulfilled promise, a young actress whose light was extinguished far too soon, leaving behind a haunting question: what could she have achieved if fate had been kinder? Her tragic end underscores the fragility of fame and the often unforgiving nature of Hollywood, where even the most promising stars can fade into obscurity. Ross Alexander was a charismatic and talented actor who rose to fame in the 1930s, known for his charm and versatility in both comedic and dramatic roles. He starred in films like Captain Blood, 1935, alongside Errol Flynn, and A Midsummer Night's Dream, 1935, showcasing his ability to captivate audiences. However, behind his on-screen success, Alexander's personal life was fraught with tragedy and turmoil. His first wife, actress Aletta Friel, died by suicide in 1935, an event that deeply affected him. Struggling with depression and mounting financial pressures, Alexander's career began to falter as he found it increasingly difficult to secure meaningful roles. By 1937, he was facing bankruptcy, and the weight of his personal demons became unbearable. At just 29 years old, Ross Alexander died by suicide, leaving behind a legacy of unfulfilled potential and heartbreak. His death sent shockwaves through Hollywood, highlighting the immense pressures faced by actors in an industry that often prioritizes fame over mental well-being. Alexander's story is a poignant reminder of the human cost of stardom, where the glitz and glamour of Hollywood can mask a world of pain and despair. His tragic end serves as a cautionary tale, underscoring the importance of compassion and support in an industry that can be as unforgiving as it is alluring.